Ready. Does it sound good?
Make sure you're loud.
Uh-oh.
And it'll go fine. And if it doesn't sound good, then no harm done.
Cool, yeah. Everyone on good?
Yeah. Yep, ready when y'all are.
Okay, that's the time. Alright, everyone good?
Yeah.
Xavier, all good?
Yep.
You good? Cool. Inequality creates flawed epistemic conclusion, make a normative decision, make it impossible. Manita 11. Perspective contained in experiences hidden in the mainstream framework that becomes hegemonic, prevailing, sustained, economic battle, subjugated knowledge remains invisible. The critical data is retrograde, subjugated knowledge, subject to destabilize the status quo, destabilize the status quo until they are given a voice for the marginalized people to exert. The established framework becomes open to contestation, up in respect to the oppressed. The only way to counter dominant ideologies, core thought process, Mills 5. What distinguishes the ideal theory reliance on the ideal conclusion of the actual theory represents the actual deviation, not worth theorizing. The normative will assume the atomic individual will start away from the relation of oppression to shape the ontology individual, locating them. Locating nothing will be said on the historic or ongoing oppressions like to shape the basic intuition, idealization, cognitive sphere will be presupposed, transparency will be presumed, no attention paid to the distinctive role hegemonic ideology in distorting our perception of the social order. Thus, the standard is minimizing oppression's impact calculus. A. Oppression is created by social system only to focus on material conditions to solve Johnson note. A. Privilege is a feature of social system, not individuals. Oppression's happening now. Unless people work to change the system that promotes it. Personal healing cannot be answered. Healing wounds is no more than a solution of oppression than military hospitals to war. Changing people isn't enough solution. Has to include the system whose patterns and shape and how we feel to behave. B. Material equality difference. Our view of individuals comes out claims support of the history and epistemology. Oakirk 07. The emphasis is on the positive right of the citizen in order to provide the student with opportunities to able to fulfill their own proponents of justice, criticize liberal ideas without addressing the problem. So as long as it means the production remain in the hand of the haves, there's no guarantee in inequality. But less off the global community must act to remove the active poverty in the famine and threatened area of existing million people independent. Reason to prefer the standard just your basic intuition that oppression is bad and assumption otherwise makes debate on safety. Hand 14. Arguments make an assumption of safety when we allow arguments that question the wrongs of the race and sex, alien, homophobia, rape, lynching, etc. We make debate on safety. The idea that debate is safe to the question assumption begins with an idea of debaters that can question every assumption. People who face the actual fact they affirmate things cannot question those assumptions, making debate safe. Hostile advocacy. I can resolve plea bargaining ought to be abolished in the United States justice system. I defend the resolution as a general principle, clarify spec anything across with necessary solvency. Plea bargains constantly legal extortion. The water the judgment about 90% of the criminal charges are plead out destroying the effectiveness of the 90 individuals the right to trial, and abolition of use of plea bargain will reduce the body mass count of incarceration and ameliorate harms caused by the CJS Will 2012. As long as plea bargains are used, the British industrial conduct will continue to grow exponentially. American political resolve the incarceration even if it means cutting education, the voting budget, the subsidizing for the for-profit business. If the plea bargains were limited, the state and the Fed would be required to carry out their burden under the Constitution of proving guilty criminal defendants in accordance with the law. There would be a whooping reaction. The prosecution not demanding the incarceration such that wouldn't be important in ending current casserole culture of the mass confinement and cruelty, reduce trials and cause for the CJS, garnet fuel mass incarceration, create self-deprecating norms of race and quality surrounding the institution of bargains. Savitsky 09. Plea bargains lower the cost of criminal prosecution, facility, and the gross imprisonment bargaining, racial inequality by disproportionate impacting African American defendants, multiplier prison dilemma take it worse than the bargain. The otherwise might, since the prosecutor and the police are interested in minimize the cost there, encourage the prosecutor to disperse the number of black defendants. Negotiates based on the expectation of conviction of African American defendants, bargain with a pessimistic estimate resulting worse. Bargains combine aggregate in the system. Racially biased prison population, differential race, treatment conducted to police, destroy the effectiveness of CJS, perception effects whether the police are taken, which means as long as CJS perceive the scrutiny of the black plea bargains exist, then blacks will take the worst plea due to permission toward the effectiveness and the trial process. The F is key. Roe 2011. Differences in perception are legitimately tied to individual factor. Individuals who are impulsive may be more likely to perceive punishment as unfair than the perception of wanting to leave the answer. Individual factors can help with the difference in the perception of criminal justice authorities. While data shows that a large proportion of minorities negative perception and policing courts can clearly not share the same view. Racial socialization allows individuals to reinterpret the discrimination with a way to not to offending or different treatment of real or perceived effects of minorities. CJS perception of a differential treatment with the particular community may go a long way reducing racial disparities and legitimate towards the law. No racial disparities in the criminal justice impact. Hit 1. Incarceration's business form of structural violence. Load 15. Prisons are places of intense brutality, fundamental structure degrades basic humanity and self-worth. Movement is tightly controlled by the change and the threat of force and basically to deny the personal boundaries routines immediately change may communicate may enduring isolations for you mass incarceration, search rampant sexual abuse. McLeod 2. Prison is productive for the violence as the prisoner seeks to control the improve the social position through assault and rape. Physical forces imposed by prison guards cannot be ensured. 13% of prison inmates have been sexually assaulted. The institution reported data significantly undercounts 3. Mass incarceration drains on funding and for higher education. Will 2012. The military-industrial complex drained the resources from the pressing social and economic needs such as education. Skyrocketing expenditures in incarceration in California have been associated with the decline in spending on the higher education. Myriad division that now believe the higher education coalition the printed expenditure. 2012 correctional spending the student debt nationwide of $1 trillion each. Pennsylvania spent twice as much more relation than it did on higher education. Looking around at the nation, bargaining at the cost of incarceration. Scholarly cut with the higher education. Massachusetts spent on higher education and mass incarceration. 2007 for prison cause mass suffering for differently abled people. Articles 13. Violence of incarceration can produce mental illness. Ableism can make disabled people more likely incarcerated and the target for violence. Trans and queer people of color have also likely been placed in the isolation of cars with potentially catastrophic mental health. One woman who had been beaten by a guard went to the office of mental health. I'm having nervous breakdowns. My facial hair is going and I'm deprived to shower and raising an office to smash a woman's face into the wall. The prison industrial complex reinforced the militant violence of incarceration concept replicated in the militant Sudborough 4. Activists in Arizona highlighted the connection between militarism and the use of self-prison undergated peace activism and deployment of weaponry developed by the industry inside prisons. The two systems share important structural features, producing profit settlement, social analysis. The connection between the military and the political prisons is critical to build effectiveness and movement of the U.S. military aggression. 6. The PIC uses violence to maintain social control in other countries. Rodriguez. 7. Bodily domination of the American prison fundamental to the U.S. violence across the global horizon. Globality refers to the production of the domain through the genocidal violence, war making, the mass imprisonment. American globally of grammatic, pragmatic urgency that orders statecraft across the geographical U.S. conceptualization of the prison central to how its states formulate their own responses, social crisis, and global white supremacy.
Ready for CX?
Yeah, my alarm is like on a 3-second thing, so you'll hear it in like a few seconds, but it's all good.
So you want to start then?
Yeah, sure.
Wait 3 seconds?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I will start CX then. Okay, so who's the F actor?
What do you mean? I can spec an. If you want me to spec an F actor,
But
like.
do you take a stance? I mean, it's like your plan, right? Like, didn't you know who your actor is?
Yeah, I'm just defending the whole res. If you want me to defend an actor, just give me an actor and I'll defend it.
Okay, that's fine.
If you're trying to read A spec, like.
No, it's fine. Alright, let's look at your 3 solvency cards. Specifically on your Wheel 12 card, you say that legal extortion on part of judge and prosecutor. Do you indicate anywhere in your case what has caused this legal extortion, i.e., like why like the power imbalance is there?
Right, so we say that's because of the plea bargains. It says that plea bargains constitute legal extortion on the part.
So then, like, prior to plea bargaining, there wasn't, like, any imbalances going on, and, like...
What do you mean?
Right, like, because, like...
So
like,
you're saying...
Your Wheel 12 and your Science Canine evidence seem to be indicating that the reason that, like, plea bargains are so bad is because they play into this idea of a power imbalance amongst, like, prosecutor, judge, defendant, and defense lawyer.
Right.
I'm asking, do you provide any evidence in your case that shows how this power imbalance got to be there?
No, because the plea bargains, they're like...
So the reason the power imbalance is there is because of, like, purely plea bargains? Like, prior to plea bargains, there wasn't a power imbalance?
So the Wheel 12 cards explicitly says that cutting education and devoting budget to subsidizing the for-profit prisons. If plea bargains were eliminated, the states and the Fed would be required to carry out their burden under the Constitution of proving the guilt of a criminal defendant in accordance with the law, right? So it's all based under...
Okay, I know. I know how to read your evidence. My question is, do you indicate anywhere in the act the reason this power imbalance is there, or are you just saying that prior to plea bargain existing, there was no injustices going on in the criminal justice system?
I'm saying that the plea bargains has made it significantly worse.
Okay, but do you indicate like why it was there like prior, or you're just saying that it was there and it's worse under plea bargain?
I'm saying it's there in the status quo. If that's what you're asking.
This is getting nowhere. We'll go on to the next. Off your Rogue 11 evidence.
Yeah.
This evidence is just specific to, like, because racism exists in the status quo, that makes it to where, like, certain people are, like, disproportionately affected by pleas, right?
By the CJS, most specifically.
Is this implicated back to, like, the biases of, like, juries, or, like, the biases of judges, or the biases of prosecutors?
And
What's it implicated back to?
Right, so basically you can implicate it back to, like, You mean like whether it was the jury or judge or like defendant?
Where's the biases coming from here?
Right. So the biases is coming from the trial as a whole, which says that
The
while
trial
data
as a
shows a
whole,
large
so-
proportion of minorities
so then-
have a negative perception of the. It comes from the people like the defendants, the
So
ones that are being
essentially,
victimized.
okay. So then, just to understand this evidence, it's saying that like, let's say a person like an African American is more likely to feel like they're going to be persecuted, so they're more likely to take a plea. That's what this indicates?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll start prep time. Now.
It's 5 minutes. Yeah.
So I have 2.5 minutes left. Where's the flash drive?
What's the order?
It's going to be 3 off case.
Cool.
You can just keep the flash drive amongst yourself. I don't really look at the speech doc during the speech.
Sounds good.
I just use it to A, to your prep, and B, call for anything if I absolutely need it.
It's just called Blake round 4, RD41A.
Where's the right behind you?
Oh, cool. I should take my jacket off. This hotel likes to do this thing where without a jacket it's cold and with a jacket it's hot, so.
There's no balance.
Oh, well. Yeah, pretty much. Did you get it?
Is it playground 4-1?
Yep.
Alright, 1 sec.
Cool. You ready?
Oh,
You say you're ready, opponent ready? Hey, don't laugh too hard, man.
Okay, yeah,
norms.
it's cool.
Norms.
hey, I'm down to debate you right now.
I'm sure you are, Xavier. Alright, everyone good?
I'm all good, I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
Cool. Interpretation that all TOC beta distributing terminates debaters must disclose all broken positions on the NDCALD wiki. The disclosure must include tags, complete citations, and the full text from each piece of violation from each piece of evidence. The disclosure must occur within 30 minutes of the round. Violation, there's 2 screenshots in the doc if you want to see them. He only discloses first and last 3 words. That's pretty bad. Net benefits: 1. Accessibility. There's a section of literature based on evidence of blanketed paywalls with all protections. Things like Heroin Online, JSTOR, making so only certain debaters can access some articles. Full text disclosure means that even in the face of inaccessible evidence, debaters can still understand the crux of the arguments that are being detailed. Them in their first and last 3 disclosure can never allow. Accessibility is an independent voter. We cannot have any debate without the ability to participate. 2. Reciprocity. I disclose a full text and you don't. Which I gives you a structural prep advantage from me since you have to spend less time before the round hunting through articles and recutting evidence to figure out my positions. It's outweighs. 8. Every reason disclosure is good as an advantage for them, not me. B. View their counter with a grain of salt. Self-serving and reciprocity. Self-serving reciprocity is key to fairness in terms of equal access to the ballot. Voter fairness. The debate is king of rules. We get to pick the better debate, not the better cheater. Fairness comes before education. 8 points that controls internally education. You leave education in the round if the round will spare in the first place. B points that you actually get education out of the round. Things like rebuttal, reduce, and research is not actually key in round. Also, drop the debate. 8 point drop the argument would give them a huge time trade off and incentivize future abuse. B point is that they would just go really hard for drop the argument, which would just incentivize future abuse. Prefer giving interpretations. 8 point is that reasonability is arbitrary. Setting a bright line, if itself is still arbitrary. B use an offense Stevens paradigm on committing interpretations, which just collapses to reasonability. Also, no RBIs. 8 point causes a chilling effect with debaters less likely to read theory against abusive positions out of fear of losing to a good theory made with the prep counter. B point is the after just the B point. C point you can link an impact turn the show granting your advance to create 2-1 skew which would kill reciprocity. Next off, counterplan. Counterplan text. I defend the factor should A. abolish plea-bargaining in the United States criminal justice system except for cases in which immigrants are being prosecuted, and B. federally implement California Law Penal Code Section 1016.3b. Green 16 clarifies. In California Law Penal Code Section 1016.3b mandates that prosecution consider avoidance of adverse immigration consequences of the plea-bargaining in the process of one factor in an effort to reach a just resolution, and the prosecutors use this law to prevent the deportation of non-legal U.S. residents. That's Gonzales 17. Prosecutors when negotiating plea deals are using their discretion as the immigrants to ensure that they don't get deported for minor crimes. Non-citizens face a double jeopardy getting deported years after serving their sentence. Prosecutors consider defendants immigration status when negotiating plea deals for minor non-violent offenses. In California, state law instructs prosecutors to consider immigration status defending plea negotiation sessions. Blasted local officials don't prosecute immigrants to the fullest extent. Also, the counterpoint is uniquely key because it still solves the entirety of the act, whereas it still allows us to help these people. This is going to be uniquely key in the context of the Trump presidency, in which these people are being overly persecuted, and also outweighs under their own standard of helping the oppressed. Also, just prefer this because negating. Negating is harder, and after in 1 AR theory should be dropped the argument. 8 points the act to speak first, which means they get to frame the debate. B point is that the act speaks last, which means they get judge psychologists will the 2 hour class, which C2 can never preempt 3. C point is that there's a 7-6 skew on 1 AR theory, which means it probably should be dropped the argument. And D, if the position is so abusive, you should be able to win it easily. There's no real time loss. Also, the counterpoint in itself is key to advocacy skills, which means it outweighs on real world practices because whenever a policymaker proposes a policy, they're going to be hit with other policymakers who have very similar but not quite the same policies, as well as politicians change their minds all the time. It's probably a reason why you should prefer this counterpoint. Also, next off, counterpoint text. The United States federal government should require that prosecutors 1. State the reason for plea offers on the record to create transparency, and 2. Collect and share data about their offers to expose any disparities. And this solves disparities in criminal prosecution. Prosecutors have way too much power. Only transparency solves. There are too many alt causes otherwise. I'm only reading the blue. We're trying to 4-17. And prosecutors should state that the reason for plea bargaining off the record to create transparency would be required to collect and share data about their offers to expect any disparities. Only to establish facts and data can educate prosecutors and judges to combat implicit and overt biases. And coercive plea deals are those held in shadows. Transparency solves. Caldwell 11. There is no reliable data or proximity to support of disposition that would produce a coercive tactics. Plea bargaining is undertaken in the shadows. Little no evidence documented, given, and taken records just a testament of the original charges. The record would be devoid of any particular coercive. Plea bargaining must necessarily take the place out of the view, and prosecutors cannot have such misconduct brought in line by discourse. And also, this solves the entirety of the case because it solves the internal link from to the incarceration argument, because their will to evidence and the rest of evidence is all indicates that extortion causes a mass incarceration, but that extortion is a result of the power imbalance between different prosecutors and defendants. And insofar as the counterpoint solves transparency, that means it solves the imbalance and solves the abs harms. The first piece of evidence on this counterpoint I read is uniquely good to how we can solve implicit biases. Insofar as the affirmative conceded in cross-examination that there was still injustice occurring in the criminal justice system prior to plea bargaining, that's not a reason why plea bargaining is the root cause, but rather why there's another thing causing it, which means that any risk of why plea bargaining is somewhat okay, it means you should probably negate, because the counterpoint definitely solves for the power imbalance that plea bargaining is currently implementing. Now on case, I'm going to link term their incarceration argument. 1. Empirics prove a decrease in plea bargaining leads to harsher sentencing and massive spike in prison population. Nicole 84. Conclusion from studying to California for felony prosecution is more felonies are being imprisoned, and plea bargaining limitations have caused this. The plea bargaining limitation caused harsher sentencing. Furthermore, average prison sentence lengths have increased from 1997 to 1981, increased in prison population over 24%. And the right to counsel is a joke for poor individuals, giving them limited amount of time defendants have. Banning plea bargains ultimately condemns people to massive imprisonment. That's colon 13. The practice of legal representation for litigants today. The right to a lawyer who is vastly underpaid and overworked, who, according to reports, spends less than 6 minutes per case. Lawyers are often just a potted plan sufficient to secure your rights in fair trial. Congress, state lawmakers constantly have to refuse the public defender's office adequately. Justice won't secure the basic right to trial. Also, I prefer this evidence over their evidence specifically because it's empiric down to what happened when we actually got rid of plea bargaining in California, which means it's most specific to the issue. That means it outweighs on one problem. It means it outweighs on a probability because it's specifically speaking of, whereas there's just an article that says, well, this might happen. We're actually empirics. Also now terms. Solvency plea bargaining is inevitable. Plea bargaining is to insurance prosecutors. Judges will circumvent the plan. Empirics prove. Economist 11.9. In Mercury, prosecutors are broad freedom. So insurance that plea bargains that they attempts to do without them have failed. They was blamed and lost, given that happened to informally justify the implicit deals. Defendants possibly banned plea bargaining in 1975 during the following 2 years of trial. Right, doubled. Prosecutors say secret bargains of the judges' encouragement to appeal the bargaining can reshape the entire criminal justice system. Means that fewer trials, fewer occasions which police and prosecutors mistake a solved case. And tactic or unregulated plea bargains will still happen after a ban, but just keep off the record. Gut solvency, Winger 87. The prohibition of plea bargaining sustained for serious arrests in which judges depended on the plea agreements with the defense lawyers and the prosecutors willing to depart from the office policy. Judges are motivated by the efficiency of plea bargaining, assumed a wide variety of forms in the courthouse, and the AF fails. Plea bargains are inevitable even after full-scale abolishment. Scott 5. Efforts of plea bargaining have repeatedly failed because of the expensive time trade-offs in each case. The bargaining shifted to other stages of provision of bargaining shifted from the prosecutor to judge. Prosecutor ignoring the ban. I'm going to try to say a durable fiat solves no durable fiat does not solve specific instances to show that it's empirically confirmed that whenever we get rid of plea bargaining, they just take on new forms, which means they have to show why they would be able to solve the system. It's also going to be the reason why you should prefer the counterplan, because the counterplan would still be solving, whereas the app does nothing. Also, more turns. Abolishing plea bargaining leads to informal punishments and increasing crime power, harming the most vulnerable communities. Scott and Schools 92. In no bargaining regime of lower cost cases of prosecuting more unavailable, police and prosecutors might dispense low-level punishment. Informers loss of certain punishment will lead to a loss of deterrence, and which would tax assist to fulfill most of the effects of the crime inhabit poor neighborhoods. And innocent defendants are better protected through plea bargains. Scott's and Stunts 92. The disparity between trials at the police section leads the defendants to the innocent to accept the deal. The story is that still condemnation of plea bargaining. And the defendants is much better off than they offer a murder defendant who offered 50% chance of winning trial when the prosecutor offered 10-year sentence with a plea. And plea bargaining is key to organized crime prosecutions. Go to 2K. Law enforcement of justice significance of leniency bribes for crime fighting the departments on accomplice of witness testimony in thousands of cases. The prosecution will the government does not use informants accused. B20 accomplices of money beneficial U.S. Attorney's Office solved 250 Ginglewood murders.
So everything after Gowdy.
Yeah. So yeah, anything after the first Gowdy 2K.
Just take out.
Yeah. And I only read how solved 250 gang-related murders. I didn't read and convicted 300 persons.
Cool. Okay. Ready for cross?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, ready.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Do you weigh between these, or like which CP comes first? Or are they just like mutually exclusive?
What do you mean? I mean, they operate on the same layer, right? Like, there's not. They operate on this. What do you mean? Which comes first?
What do you mean they operate on the same layer?
Can you rephrase your question?
Right. So which one comes first? Which CP comes first, or which one do I need to beat?
Well, I would say you have to beat both of them.
Okay, so you don't weigh between the two. I have to win both back.
Well, what would weighing between the two look like?
Like you say, CP1 comes first, and CP2.
Well, in the world of the negative, both counterplanes solve the AF in different ways, right? It makes no sense to say that if you win that one counterplane doesn't solve the AF, then that would not also then mean the other counterplane does not solve the AF.
Okay. Okay, cool. On to the.
But yeah, also even to further answer your question, the counterplanes are not necessarily mutually exclusive with each other, right? So I don't really know what you mean by like which one comes first.
Do you spec which CP comes first?
I do not know what that means. Like,
okay.
They operate in the same layer, if that answers your question, right?
Okay. On the let's go to the turns.
Okay.
Why does it says in the Scott 05 card the AF fails, right? Because
yeah.
Even after a full-scale abolishment, what do you mean? How do I fail after a full-scale abolishment?
So Scott 5 would indicate that it's been empirically confirmed that whenever there has been attempts to ban plea bargaining, what's happened is because of the expensive trade-offs between those things, there's just been a shifting of bargaining to other stages in the criminal justice system, whereas essentially in an attempt to abolish like the formal understanding of plea bargaining, we're just causing it to occur in other places.
So
and even then, even after that, it also indicates further that just like judges and prosecutors just
because we're gonna have like what is it kind of like a court clog argument where like if the courts are just gonna get so like
no, it's not necessarily a court clog argument. It's just that like the way plea bargaining has like worked historically is that it's like so important. And like prosecutors and judges rely on it so much that even if you ban it, they just figure out new ways to have it, but they just like call it different names or they have it occur in different parts of like the like prosecution's steps.
Okay, cool. Let's see. On the disclosure theory, are these like independent voters, or do you like which one is I'm assuming like reciprocity is fairness.
Yeah, well, so we say that accessibility is an independent voter. On the stat shell, we only read a fairness voter, and we also do like fairness over education weighing.
So accessibility is an independent voter.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I guess that's it. Start up now. Is the CP like an advantage CP?
The second one is, yeah.
Okay. Is it conditional or unconditional? Like,
Um,
would you be able to, or would you
which
kick
one?
it? The second one?
No, the second one I'll defend. What do you want me to defend the second one?
Non-conditional.
Non?
Yeah.
So unconditional or conditional?
Sorry, unconditional.
Yeah, sure, I'll defend the second one unconditional.
Okay. Okay. What do you mean before education? Like, do you read any education standards, or is that just like a preempt if I read something with education?
We just preempt if you read education on that shell. We say that fairness is a voter, and then we give the reason fairness is a voter, and we say it comes before education. The A point is because we say it controls the internal link to education, i.e. having education in the round is predicated on us having like a fair discussion, and we say two, that you don't actually get education from the round, rather it's something you get out of round through like research and rebuttal redos, whereas fairness would seem to be an irreversible harm.
Okay. Alright, cool. I have 35 of prep. Alright, 4 minutes, right? Is that right?
What's the order?
The order's gonna be new shell. I'll send that over right now. New shell, and then the theory shell. or the disclosure shell, whatever you want to call
So
it.
we go into substance or no?
Huh?
So just
No.
the 2 shells? Okay.
Round 4. Right, I'm sending it.
Okay. Just let me know. Oh, no, yeah, you're not even on.
Oh, that's right. Flash drive.
Yeah. If you want, I can just copy the interp real fast before if you want. If
Here,
it's
I got it.
faster. Or you can just send it.
Yeah, I'm putting it on.
Yeah, cool. So it's new off and then the 1 inch shell?
New off and then the 1 inch shell. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
New off, 1 inch shell. Ready whenever.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the shell. What's it called?
What?
Oh, AR?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the whole? Oh, wow, okay.
What?
I thought you were just sending it to interp.
I'll send you a whole shell.
Nice. Alright, alright, cool.
Alright, is everyone ready?
Yep. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cool. Oh, shoot, sorry. Okay. New off. A is the interpretation negative advocates accountable and it can only complete through mutual exclusivity. To clarify, they cannot read an advantage counter from B is the violation. They say in cross-X is an advantage counter and 2 they defend it non-conditionally. C prefer 1 limits are there an infinite amount of policy options to give the government to get you can take money for force to defend that one that directly interacts with the app as can break. If when I'm doing a research key to fairness, if I don't have cards, you always have the app defender to make a risk of turning of a turn sufficient to negate. Key to education. We have a good policy debate about merits of advocacy. I don't know if it existed. 2 topic education mutually exclusive CBs are specific to the plan, but advantage CBs can be about anything. My interboard discussion based around the resolution. More important type of education. We only have the topic for 2 months, and we already know about the current events and all that. D the voter. 4 fairness is a voter because debate is competitive activity and competitive activity drive procedural checks. 2 education is a voter because the only long-lasting impact of debate and the only reason schools want to debate schools on debate and everyone's buying value in 10 years. Not going to remember the round 3 to determine it's not fair. Going to remember the education prefer fairness and voter over the case and above the other shell because the I'll get into why the other shell it was already disclosed. He just goes into a deeper way just to avoid the substantive part of the aff. Drop the debate of 1 to be abuse into your opponent will know that they will lose if they read and view of argument. 2 research that because you had best time running through check by BC you can't win something to do. Perverting competing in terms of reasonability. 1 reasonability is RBG by judge and defendant. 2 force rate to bottom board debaters become increasingly viewed and get away with defense all theory. No RBIs. And RBI will good theory debaters should be really abuse and debate theory. And 2 and RBIs are a logical fallacy. Cool. Now let's go into the shell. The NC shell. A is the counter interpretation. A is the counter interpretation at all TOC distributing tournaments. Debaters may open source their cases, but must disclose with the first 3 and last 3 words. B, I mean, C is the standard 1 education. By completely open sourcing the case, and they can literally find they can literally go in and find like every single argument and would just like completely ruin debate because if everyone had like if everyone had their case completely open sourced, then there'd like be no actual like there'd be no reason to debate in the first. There'd be no reason to debate because you just have literally every word of the case prepped out. Then clash. Literally, there'd be no class. It would just be the AAC reading their speech, and then the NR literally coming in with responses to every single word used and every single position possible because they literally completely examined the whole entire case. Plus, it's not exclusive. You can just borrow my case from someone else. I read it in another round, so you can just ask for it. Then it's you don't need to you don't need to disclose it. Drop the argument. Drop the argument. One, it's just a frivolous error that you're trying to use. If I've already disclosed, and he already came out with like 30 turns to my whole entire case, all found online, then he shouldn't have a problem with me disclosing the first 3 and last 3. He already has the whole entire thing prepped out. Then you can just go back to the rudimentaries of debate, not just go back to a frivolous style. Then and then you get on to the accessibility and the independent voter accessibility. First of all, JSTOR is open to your whole entire team. I've seen your teammates open up JSTOR and completely just go on and find as much research they possibly want. Plus, at TOC bidding debate tournaments, JSTOR is open. Plus, you can ask anyone for the password to JSTOR. Anyone's gonna give it to you, especially if you need it for research purposes. Like, it's not a big deal. Then on the reciprocity, he says, I disclose full text and you don't. First of all, you're neg. I don't know anything that you're gonna read. These 2 CPs that you read weren't even disclosed. Weren't disclosed on the wiki. So this doesn't relate. This doesn't relate to you. You just had 1 DA and 1 K on the wiki, which means that I should get access to this. You vote on the AR shell above the other shell on the abuse story. Thus, you affirm.
Cool. I have 2.5 minutes left.
Yep.
I will start that now. This only goes to 4 minutes, yes. I remember that.
Time.
Yeah, it's fine. Here, I'll send you the phone. Yeah, it's from an old round. Cool. It's just called LHP SGAV. My man Steve.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. I'm not reading everything in the doc though, but
yeah, it's all good. I get you.
Yeah, there. Something. Oh, it's rejected. No, it's that I can't.
Is it like the 19 point to rejecting one AI theory?
I think so. I hope it is.
Oh, cool. LHP SGAV 2NR round 5?
Yeah, it should be it.
No. You want it?
I'll have it at the end of the debate.
Okay, cool. I'll open it.
Wait 1 sec, let me open. Oh crap, I'm about to run out of battery.
Okay.
No, I have one right here. Oh, that's your charger right there, by the way.
Oh, my bad.
No,
Okay,
it's all
choose
good.
that. Cool, I just want to make sure it's the right one. You got LHPSG AB 2N R5, right?
Yeah, let me open it. You tell me if that's the right one.
Should be.
Reject one error theory on face. That's it.
There we go.
Are you reading the theory shell?
No.
What?
No, I'm not reading the theory shell.
Okay, cool.
Just reading that.
Is that working?
What? Oh, cool. Yeah, so just
What's the order?
yeah, so it's gonna be I'm gonna read this doc some arguments off this doc real fast, and then I'm going to go to really quickly on substance, and then his shell, my shell.
Your
Oh no, actually no, sorry. It's gonna be this thing I read real fast. Substance, my shell, your shell.
substance. Your shell, my shell.
Yeah, cool. Everyone good?
Wait one sec. Your shell. Okay. I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm all good.
Yep.
Cool, everyone's good?
Yep.
Alright, cool. So reading the stock first, my shell, your shell.
Cool.
Okay. Also, Xavier, I just saw the stock above the 1 hour. I can overview to this 1 hour show.
Overview to the 1 hour shell.
Yeah,
My
well, it's
favorite.
Like, it's like a paradigm dump. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Xavier, you good?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay.
Always good.
Reject 1 hour theory on phase 8.9. I only have one chance to respond after it's introduced. Well, they have two chances. B, they get to speak before me, which means they get to frame the debate in the debate, which is an abusive. And the 2, and I can go for counter to respond to their show while they can choose either in the 2 or C. 1 hour theory gives a time skew for the rest of the round because they have the 1 hour 2 hour, which 7 minutes compared to my 2 hour, which is 6 minutes, gives us a whole minute advantage on the theory debate. 2, D, I lose the flexibility of being able to indict practice of the F without going new in the 2 hour, which gives the ability to effectively weigh on the theory debate and thus get ahead. E, 1 hour theory is a no risk excuse. The F can go hard for no over in the 2 hour, which gives me a start because I either lose on substance or theory. F, when the F is 1 hour theory, the 2 hour has 3 uncontested minutes of theory to the F, so they have the ability to collapse and each hour later, which means the 2 hour can never effectively cover all arguments in 1 AR. Also, you can extend that negating as hard as the arguments I made on my own specific flow as a reason why you should reject a 1 AR theory on face or the very best is just to be dropped the argument, which just functionally mean you drop that one shell. But so really quick on substance. Extend the link term that's in the Moy 8.4 evidence and empirics with the decrease of plea bargaining leads to harsher sentences, a massive spike in present population extend that it outweighs everything on probability. So I have 100% link to solve in case you should use epistemic modesty in this specific instance. Literally, they conceded all of substance, so extend every argument the negative made on substance. I am hosing them on substance, which means that even if the theory debate is very, very close, you should probably just use epistemic modesty because of how clearly I'm winning on the substance debate. But now let's actually go to my first off. Extend the interpretation that all TLC distributed tournaments, the debaters must disclose all broken precision on the TLC wiki. Disclosure must include tags and citation in the full section of each piece of evidence. Disclosure must occur within 30 minutes prior to the round. Extend. Specifically, I'm going for the accessibility argument. Extend the paywall argument. They have conceded 100% linked to this paywall argument. The problem here is the arguments he made are not actually responding to this argument. He said that JSTOR is opening your entire team, so you do not do that. No, JSTOR is not opening my entire team, and even if it was, that's not a verifiable argument, which means Xavier can't vote off it. You say that you can ask anyone for a password to JSTOR, which anyone will give it to you. Again, this argument is not verifiable. There's no way to actually check back against it. Even then, this would exclude small school debaters without resources to act. Other people for things like JSTOR, probably means that this is not a good norm that you can set. Also, you said that I'm neg, which means that you do not know what I will read. That's not a reason to why not disclosing full text is bad. That's just an afflex argument. You probably implicated better. You said that but you're already conceding negating starter. You said that my counterparts do not disclose. I only had one dissent and one critique, and it's a question of positions you've already read prior to the round. Insofar as these are new things that I'm reading, that's the reason why I don't. It's the reason why you should probably disregard this argument. The interpret is very clear. It says it must disclose all broken positions. These are 2 unbroken positions, which means your arguments go away. So extend. I'm going to go specifically for the question of norming. It's a question of the norm set. Even if the app itself, I was able to engage with the app, it's not a reason why the norm set is an overall bad argument. Just because you read a whole res util does not then mean that you're not setting a good norm. So far as I have 100% linked to the argument today, so far as they're not contesting that paywalls do exist and that they can make it harder for debaters to engage. That's going to be a reason why accessibility is an independent voter. They conceded accessibility is an independent voter. Insofar as we cannot debate without the ability to participate, it also constrains fairness in education because fairness fairness assumes that you're able to actually access the round in the first place, which means it outweighs. Even then, I'm also going to give the reciprocity standard. They said that I disclose full text and never actually contest this. I'm going specifically for the argument I made about how it gives you a structural prep advantage because you have less time hunting articles and recording evidence, which means that the one in was already disputed from the very beginning. And that also means the reason why you prefer this shell over their shell because any abuse they articulate is just a reason why because of the out of round skew, which means justifies the specific in round abuse that had to happen. Also.
Overview on the counterinterpretation. This counterinterpretation is not good because they say that may not open source. They said that they may open source and disclose first and last for education. First thing, you don't meet your own counterinterpretation. You do not open source. That would imply that you gave all of your tag. That you gave all your arguments cut. All you do is disclose first and last for you. So it means that they functionally do not meet their own counterinterpretation, which means you should probably disregard it on face. Actually, go on the line by line. I mean, he goes for an education argument. The problem is they conceded fairness over education. You can extend that fairness controls the internally to education. They only have education in their around as fair, and also you can see the people that do only get education out around things like rebuttal redos, which means that insofar as this argument is linked back to education, that's the reason why it's going to be bad. Also going to function as terminal defense on the second standard on his first shell, which we'll get to in a second. Also, he says that that it would completely ruin debate for everyone to open source. There should be no reason to debate in the first place. Yes, I agree. If everyone do open source, I do not agree with that. I mean, you can make arguments whether it would be okay, but it's not a question of open source. It's a question of just providing the block of text you got things from that. This is specifically implicated by reciprocity argument, in which I show you that the only way I show you that having the block of text that allows me to go, just directly cut from it to better understand your arguments, and having to go and try to hunt through things like paywalls, which means that this argument's going to outweigh this argument on their standard. Also that they go, they say that just because the IAC is reading speech, they said the NR is coming, and every response which examines the whole case again this argument. It's a question of the norm. They said even if I had prep in the specific argument, should not buy this argument on our clash argument. They say that it's not exclusive because you can borrow my case from someone else. This argument is again ludicrous because it assumes that one, I know you've hated it, and two, they'd be willing to provide it to me, which is again non-verifiable. Which means if it's a question of purely strength of link back to fairness, I'm definitely winning. I'm definitely winning, and even then a counter-interp is incoherent. Now should you go to their show proper. Counterinterpretation: the negative may read an advantage counterpoint if one they have a solvency advocate, and two it's unconditional. B I mean I see Janet Rocky and Bertrand Alice 14 or 17 are my solvency advocate. Few things. One, it solves the entirety of the limit. It solves the entirety of their limit standards because there's very few advantage counterpoints that would meet all these requirements. And even then, it definitely makes it a lot easier to adequately engage. They said there's an infinite amount of policy options. No, one, that's just not true. Obviously, we're constrained by certain things within the topic literature, which means functional limits probably solve. You said that the interp forces UFIN 1 directly interact with the advocacy, but the problem is you can just go for a permutation on the counterpoint. That solves 100% of the abuse because if you perm the counterpoint, then you have access to it, which would then also be reasons why you can make it to why you can also make reasons to why then that means that the terms are not exclusive. Even then you say that even then you say that it's predicted doing research, which is key to fairness, because you don't have cards. Again, this argument's incoherent because I am already showing how it's functionally constrained. Even if you buy that what I did was abusive, it should be a question of strength of link weighing, i.e. How abusive it was for me to have an advantage counterpoint with a solvency advocate and make it unconditional compared to him not disclosing full text as well as you frame it through the lens of the accessibility argument. He goes to this as one topic education argument, but he's already conceded why you should prefer fairness over why you should consider fairness over education. The problem here is that also on the last show, if he goes for drop the argument on the disclosure show, that's incoherent. It still dropped the debater because it indicts the entirety of the YC and what they did. I.e., your app is not disclosed full text. Therefore, if it's dropped the argument, you dropped the app, which functionally means you do it. So it's pretty clear. Epistemic modesty, when if you're legit, my shell, their shell, strength of link on fairness voter if necessary.
Okay.
But my shell should preclude.
I think I had how much time? Prep time did I have?
Yeah, 19 seconds.
19? I remember.
Or no, yeah, it was no, I don't think it was scored.
Really?
My thing, you want to just do you can have 40, whatever.
No, it's okay. I'll take.
Do 30.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, cool. The order shall be, let's go with my shell. Actually, we can do an overview. We can float on my shell, and then...
Overview on the 1AR shell, okay.
On the 1AR shell, and then the disclosure shell.
Okay.
Overview of 1AR disclosure. Alright, ready when you are.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Alright, one sec. Where's my shell? There it is. Okay. Ready? Xavier, good. Cool. You vote off of my shell as long as I can win. As long as I can win, drop the argument on his shell. Which he makes only one cross application from the NC. As long as I make him win, drop the argument on that shell. Then you can automatically drop to the second shell. You can vote off the second shell right there. Then so on the drop the he said drop the debater because he doesn't have an affirmative case. First of all, that's just because if you drop the argument, then we go to the actual we can go to the other cell. So there's still offense that the affirmative can win under. So what do you make is an incoherent argument. So if you just drop the argument, we still have another shell to adhere to. It's not that I don't have anything left where you should just immediately drop me. I can still get a garner offense and win the round. So you can drop the argument right there. Then he also doesn't extend an RBI. So like he doesn't win the shell. Then on my shell, you can extend the interpretation, which talk at the negative. If the negative advocates account, it can only compare through mutual exclusivity. Then you can extend the violation still violates. Use the extend the limit standard that there is an infinite amount of policy options that the government can take. My force you defend that certain one, and then extend topic education. Mutually exclusive CBs are specific to the plan, but advanced CBs are about anything in my interp. Then you can extend fairness. Fairness is a voter because debate is a combative activity, and then education is a voter because it's the only lasting impact of debate. You put these voters before anything else. He literally doesn't have any independent voters. He doesn't have any independent voters in the counter interp to the 1AR shell. So as long as I win the fairness or education argument, then I should automatically win the debate. And you drop you drop him for that. He doesn't go for an RBI, and he doesn't go for competing interps over reasonability. So he goes on and he reads a dump of rejecting 1AR theory. First of all, he says I only have a chance to respond after it's introduced. Well, I have two chances. First of all, my AC is not going to be riddled with spike. Two, you have 7 minutes and 6 minutes to respond to like any single shell. So you shouldn't be complaining. You have so much more prep time than I do to get to like prep out a shell. Then they get to speak speak before and after me, which means they get to frame the debate and end the debate. First of all, when you have 6 minutes, it's just like 6 minutes overall is you get like more time to speak to the judge and use things like statistic ethos, all the others limit that I'm not able to do in 3 minutes. It's just a hectic spread in order to like close down the debate. Then he goes and says that 1AR theory creates a time skew for the rest of the round. First of all, it's still 13-13 with 5 minutes of reps each, so there's no time skew. It's an incoherent argument. Then he says he loses flexibility, being able to do and practice at the app without going new in the 2NR. You didn't even implement this. Then did you read all these? Yeah. Then 1AR, he says that 1AR theory is a no risk issue. First, it is a complete issue. It's a try or die for the affirmative. I either win the shell or I lose the debate. So, yeah, good round.
Did you go for tricks? In front of Kara?
I did disclosure result after contention. I went all three.
Good.
It was a
The
late.
2AR was 3 minutes.
Oh, by the way, I'm filming, Dan Boy, just so you know. I can take out that section of the video.
No, you did.
Let everyone know. A 3-minute collapse on the resolved a priori.
Alright. On negate, I think this round was very winnable by the 2AR. I think the 2NR made a very bad strategic decision.
Okay.
And that very bad strategic decision was that let me look. Oh, yeah. The bad strategic decision was you conceded to drop the arc. You just said it's incoherent to drop the debate because you lose the act.
Holy hell.
Yeah. So like
Oh my god.
what the 2AR should have looked like is
I
will
that argument
concede.
circled.
Yeah, no, you made that argument. You go for it in the 2AR. You say you concede drop the arc, but you don't need to spend any of the time answering really anything else. You should. This is exactly what the 2AR needed to look like in order to win. And I will explain why I did it. It just didn't cover all of the reasons to reject 1AR theory, and you conceded stuff in the 2NR. Let me rephrase. I don't think you had a winnable 2AR because I think you conceded 1AR theories always drop the arc from the 1NC. But had you answered that argument, there would have been a winnable 2AR.
Wait, say it again?
So, I spoke wrongly earlier. You dropped that 1AR theories always drop the arc from the 1NC. The bit on the counter plan, it was hidden in the like negating is harder dump.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was tricky. So you did drop that, so you didn't have.
Was it? Let me see.
You did drop that, so you didn't have winnable 2AR. But
wait, where is that?
In the CP.
It was because I know Jack's your coach. I was worried you were gonna read like picks bad, so I just did like a bunch of like preamps to picks bad under the counter plan, and one of them was drop the R.
Sorry. It was still a very bad strategic decision, but it was a strategic decision that was less bad given that there was not a winnable 2AR.
Oh my god, I see it. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
so-
small too.
So that. So
That's cool, yeah.
that was something that you needed to answer because I
Yeah.
don't care about 1AR theory and I vote neg on substance.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I want to drive home so that none of you make these mistakes in future rounds. One, you should always have offense on theory, especially if you're going for some sort of deflationary theory strategy that's like drop the AF. You need to win the counter interpretation in that case. But he doesn't answer your deterrence reasons to drop the debater, so I would have just extended this. August. One thing you could have done, if, say, there had not been that argument in the 1NC, and if all you had to deal with was the 2NR dump on reject 1AR theory, this is something that you should drill. This is a 2AR you should be ready to give, because it will come up more often than you would like.
Last time I hit this, I didn't have that little thingy-majig that he put in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, still, it's just a hard thing to answer because you have to have good time allocation. What you should have done is spent much less time on the shell proper because he only has defense on the shell. You said extend the shell. He only has defense. Here's a risk of offense on the shell. There's a risk to the limit standard. You said functional checks, but you don't have a reason why like your counter interp is net preferable, and that's only defense.
So what would in the 2AR if I responded to that little thing that he put in?
Had that little thing not mattered in the rest of the round, and I don't know what the 2NR would have done differently, right? So I'm not. This is just purely. If you come up with a 2AR that is exactly the same as this one, with the exception of that argument, you should spend very little time explaining at the very top of the 2AR why the disclosure thing is irrelevant because it's drop the arg. And you have another source of offense. And that other source of offense is the shell. And then he has no counter interpretation.
I made that
of
argument,
offense. You did. It's good. You spent too much time on it. Second is then you say no offense to the counter interpretation. So all I have to do is answer the no.
Say it again. What about the counter interp?
No offense to the counter interpretation. It's all defense about functional checks. And then you have to spend the rest of the time on that thing. And I'll tell you once we get out of the room.